Hello and welcome to this digital camera magazine video tutorial. In this tutorial we're going to take a look at how to convert your color image into a lithStyleGrain image. Basically converting your color picture into black and white, applying a sepia tone, then applying a grain, a film style grain, and then increasing the contrast slightly to reflect a traditional lithStyle print. So to get started, we'll go over to our Layers palette in Photoshop Elements, click on Adjustment Layers, down to Hue and Saturation, and click once to bring up the familiar dialog window. Converted to black and white before, you might be familiar with this, but what we're going to do is take a slightly different approach. In this window, make sure that under the Edit drop-down we have Master selected. We have the Preview button selected down in the bottom right, and unlike when we just do straight black and white conversion, we want to make sure that we've got our Colorize radio button ticked as well. Once you've done that, you'll see the hue slider goes all the way over to the left, setting it at 0, our saturation set to 25 and our lightness at 0. Now all we really want to do is adjust our hue, and we're going to adjust that by entering in a value of 41, which will give us that sepia tone. If that's not quite right for your image, then just grab hold of that slider and then you can tweak it either way so that you get that slight yellow brown of sepia. Once you've done that, just click OK, and that'll apply that adjustment layer to the background image. Now before we go on and apply film grain to the picture, we need to flatten the adjustment layer onto the background. Two ways to do this. We can either go up to More, click once and go Merge Down, or as we can see here, Control plus E is our keyboard shortcut to do that. If you're on an Apple Mac, then that'll be Apple and E. So if we go to Control E, and we can see those two layers merged together, and we've merged that down into one layer. Once we've done that, go up to Artwork and Effects. Have a look at the top and you've got 5 small icons. We're looking at the one directly in the middle, which is our Special Effects. And we should see underneath that it'll say Special Effects, and you'll have a drop down menu. Make sure you've got the top option selected, which is Filters, and then you can go to Artistic just to narrow it down a little bit further, and you should see the film grain icon. Once you have this, all you need to do to apply this to the image is left click on that, drag it straight across to the main window and release your mouse button. That'll drop that effect directly onto that picture. Open up the filter gallery and we'll have a large preview which we can see over on the left hand side here, and then we can see our filter gallery and all of the different filters that are available to us. Because we dragged and dropped the film grain from the special effects palette over to the main window, we have that selected here. Over on the right hand side we have our adjustments, so we can adjust the film grain, but at the moment we can't actually see the whole of the image. We've just got zoomed in to 100% on a very small part of the picture. Now in order to get that so that it fits into the screen, go right down to the bottom left. You'll see a small drop down which says 100%. There's an arrow next to that. If you click once and then click Fit on Screen, and that'll resize the picture so that we can now see everything and how the film grain is being applied to that picture. Right, if we take a look at the options that we have here, I've set the grain to 8, the highlight area to 7, and the intensity to 3. Just going to reduce the intensity down to 2, and we've now got quite a nice even application of the film grain. And once we're happy with that, we can just click OK, and that'll apply that to our image. Now the last step is we want to just increase the contrast and just increase the impact of the image. So we're going to just use levels just to tweak our tonal range. So back down to the Layers palette, click on the adjustment layers and go to levels. That'll bring up our levels dialog window. And then to just increase our blacks within the image, we're going to grab hold of the black slider and just move it slightly to the right. Because we're going for lithStyleGrain, we want it quite contrasty, so again we're going to grab our white point and just move that in. And the final step is we're just going to use the midtones, and once we're happy with those adjustments we can just click OK, and then once again go Ctrl E or Apple E just to flatten that down, and we now have our lithStyleGrain photograph which is ready for print.